things that are worth your attention.
I'm just so grateful that you joined us.
It is a pleasure.
Welcome to Media Path. I am Louise Palanker.
I am Lisa Arch.
Here at Media Path Podcast, we are fascinated by the paths we observe, the paths that teach and inspire, the paths we create, and the intersections that become fabric and circuitry. William McNamara's 165 IMDb credits include Copycat, Stealing Home, Amber Road, and Doing Time on Maple Drive. But Billy's interests extend beyond acting to include animal activism. And his newest project, The Trouble with Billy, is pulling it all together, and he is here to talk about it. But first, we want to thank Media Path traveler David Luck for buying us a cup of coffee. David is enjoying the journey. This is a free trip you are taking with us. And so if you'd like to contribute to our coffee budget, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/MediaPathPodcast. Any gift of $25 or more gets you a shout out. And we were going to work on our gift packages, right,
Yes,
Lisa?
right, we
that
were.
like if for $100,000, we will fly you to Hollywood.
Yes.
And put you up
at a fairly decent motel.
at Lisa's house.
Or at my house, right. And
Yeah.
then you can have your coffee that you're buying us
Yeah.
with us.
It's called the Bunk with Lisa package.
Right.
It's very exclusive. So, all right, Lisa, you are obsessed with cult docs to the point where you have joined a cult doc cult, and I am concerned.
You shouldn't be concerned because I'm very aware that it's a cult, which means I can leave at any time.
Okay.
This is a 3-part documentary on Apple TV Plus. It's called Twisted Yoga. People all over the world are taken in by a guru who runs a yoga conglomerate. Each country the yoga school is in goes under a different name. Each place runs like a regular yoga studio, but they choose specific women to take to the next level, which involves tantric yoga and moving to a higher phase where you get to actually meet this guru, who, by the way, is on the run from the law. Because
Do you buy him a coffee first?
they might have to buy him a coffee. All of it's couched in a way as to say, you know, that you're improving your life and sexual well-being, making you a more complete and spiritually alive human. What's really going on in these yoga studios, actually outside the yoga studios, involves abuse, trafficking, blackmail, sexual assault, and exploitation. And I'm just telling you up front, there's no real conclusion. They don't really get the guy in the end, but it is an interesting documentary. And it just made me realize, once again, that every cult documentary leads you to the same conclusion. If you're ever part of a group where everyone in that group is answering to one person, and that person happens to be a mysterious man who engages in sex with many members of said group, you are in a cult. If you are being manipulated psychologically, given very little food, you feel trapped, and you are being told that there will be dire consequences if you ever leave or tell anyone, you are in a cult. Mm-hmm. So get out of the cult. Watch this documentary.
This is the best Jeff Foxworthy set
Right?
I've ever.
You might be in a cult if.
You might be in a cult. All right. So I'm going to talk about. All right, work on that.
Okay.
It needs a little punchier punch, but it's close. It's very close. So I'm going to talk about David Archuleta's memoir called Devout: Losing My Faith to Find Myself. Even if David Archuleta had not endured the agony of growing up gay in a Mormon family, his childhood would have been fraught. His family was dysfunctional. His father was domineering and emotionally abusive. When he was 10, his aunt tried to weaponize him to break up his family by telling him that his dad had been sexually abusing his sister. This you tell a 10-year-old? When his remarkable gift for music was discovered, his father tried to monetize him, removing him from his home to travel the country and enter him into singing competitions. This is where you may have first caught David on season 7 of American Idol in 2008, when at the age of 17, he came in second to David Cook. We called it the Battle of the Davids. Throughout this exhaustingly stressful ride, David was desperately attempting to be a devout and righteous Mormon so that God might rid him of his same-sex attractions. It wasn't working. Now, 35 years old, David's memoir, Devout, is an entirely powerful coming-of-age and coming-out story that takes you inside the booby-trapped mental construct of a high-control religion, and we then journey alongside David on his harrowing mission to scale the walls towards deconstruction. David's fame and international reach brought him face-to-face with esteemed elders in his church, and his heartbreakingly honest conversations with Elder Ballard were an effort to protect gay Mormon kids from what he had endured. He tells the elder, "The feeling you describe of what first drew you to your wife is what I feel for men. For you, that feeling brought the greatest joy of your life. But for me, I have been taught to consider that feeling evil. What was your greatest blessing is something that I might be punished for. How am I supposed to make sense of that?" The elder told David that he had no answers, but that he would find them. Then he ghosted David, who has since left the church, written this book, and is now living his authentic life. Devout is a New York Times bestseller.
That sounds amazing. And go, David.
Go, David. All right, William McNamara. We call him Billy, the best nickname of all for William, in our own humble opinions.
Right.
Billy McNamara appeared in the films Texasville, Stella, Copycat, Surviving the Game, and Stealing Home. On TV, he played Montgomery Clift in Liz, the Elizabeth Taylor story, and Ricky Nelson in Nightmares and Dreamscapes from the stories of Stephen King. Billy had a regular role on the Showtime series Beggars and Choosers. He was featured in the groundbreaking TV movie Doing Time on Maple Drive, and you may have seen him in NYPD Blue and Law and Order SVU, among a slew of appearances. Please welcome William McNamara.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Billy. You have known you would become an actor since you were 7 years old, and your mom used to pal around with Valerie Perrine. So tell us about that time.
Well, it's interesting you brought up. So Valerie just passed away last week.
Oh,
wow.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and so and her funeral is Thursday.
Okay.
So that's full circle, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. So my mom was very good friends with Valerie, and people probably don't know who she is. I mean, she was big in the 70s,
Yeah.
you know, and she kind of rose, you know, came from nowhere. George Roy Hill, I think, met her in Las Vegas. She was a showgirl, and no acting experience whatsoever, but very attractive and had a great personality, and put her in a fairly large role for her in, I think the movie was called Slaughterhouse-Five, based on the Kurt Vonnegut book.
Okay.
And she was phenomenal. And then she met Bob Fosse, and she was a showgirl. She was a dancer, so Bob Fosse loves dancers. And whether you could act or not, Bob didn't care. And he's such a great director. You don't have to be a good actor with Bob Fosse. And so he put her in that movie Lenny, and I think she was nominated for an Academy Award. I think she won the British Academy Award. This is somebody that's like 21, 22 years old, never spent a day in Hollywood, just a showgirl, dancer in Vegas. And so yeah, she was a huge influence on my life. And what was great for me is I probably not responsible of my mom, but you know, I got to go to the sets of these movies, and
you were how old?
Little, 8. Probably. And also, you know, Valerie would have parties. My mom was a single mom, so Valerie would have these weekend parties at her house in this area, actually, very close to here. And as a little kid, I was kind of there on the couch, and there was like Bob Fosse, George Roy Hill, Ryan O'Neal, Elliot Gould.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so I was just watching these people, and they used to love to smoke pot, drink sangria, and play charades. That's all they did.
See, things don't change.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an activity wheel, you know.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so I kind of watched. I'm like, wow, whatever this is, I want to be a part of it when I get older. I want to do this. I want to.
More charades.
So wait, was your mom in the industry?
Not really. No.
So just happenstance met Valerie.
Yeah.
So was she like an aunt to you, kind of?
Yeah,
Or-
like an aunt. Yeah.
I'm so sorry for
Yeah.
your loss.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
So what's the first step towards that goal after you graduate high school?
Well, I grew up in New York City, in Manhattan, and so I wanted to be an actor. I kept telling my mom, I want to be an actor. As a kid, she goes, nope, not happening. And they sent me away to boarding school at a very early age, like 11.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so that was to get me out of the city. That was in Massachusetts. So I spent 4 years at a pre-prep school and then 3 years at a prep school after that.
Oh, my gosh.
And then I was able to get back to New York City because they just trying to keep me out of the city. That's all they were trying to do is keep me out of New York.
Because they didn't want you to act?
That's that and many other things.
Okay.
Yeah. And so but I got into Columbia. And so that's in New York City. So there's nothing they can do about it.
That's one way to get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just started, I went to the minimal amount of classes I could go to. And I just found all these independent acting schools, Warren Robertson, all these different small, Marsha Jean Kurtz, all these schools. And that's all I did. And they didn't even know I was doing that.
Really?
I love that he's sneaking around going, like furthering his education as an actor.
Right.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
So had they known, they would have tried to stop you.
Well, I think they were okay with it as long as I was going to school. And my friend was at NYU. And so I would go down there. This is in the 80s, and there wasn't any security. So he was in the film school. So I would I'd get to go into all the film school for free. Because they didn't check you. They didn't have to have a pass. You just go right in the buildings in the 80s.
Wow.
So I got to go. So I was going to these classes, not necessarily to learn how to make film, but to watch these old films with these great actors.
Oh, cool.
So I was interested in the actors.
Wow.
And I spent a lot of time. There's I think it's like it's like the Museum of Television, right, in New York City. Mm-hmm. And it's an amazing resource that they don't have in Los Angeles.
Well, we have the Paley.
Yes.
But I think they have more
Yeah.
content.
Oh,
in
this was, I think it's a Museum of Broadcasting in New York City. And so you could go in there. People say, oh, James Dean only made 3 movies. Isn't that terrible? You can only see 3 movies that he's in, which is true. However, he's in about 100 TV shows.
Yep.
So you could watch the early James Dean, who, by the way, was a terrible overactor.
I have heard this many times.
Just over the top. They had those Sunday night live television shows for Campbell's Soup or something like that. And he just stood out so much. These very good, solid stage actors. And just this guy overacting and traipsing all over the set. Just had no awareness of blocking and just crying all the time. I'm like, it was just so great to watch because I thought to myself, wow, if he can mess up so much. But what I took away from that is that what he was doing, he was taking chances, and nobody else was taking chances, around him. And I was at Williamstown summer stock. That's what I do in the summertime. It's great summer stock on the East Coast. And what I noticed, I won't name the other actors because I don't want to say, but in A Streetcar Named Desire, but I will say Chris Walken was Stanley, and all the other actors were super famous. You would know them, and they're super good, but none of them took chances. Chris Walken, every night his performance was completely different, and the people on stage, these other very famous actors, were not too happy with it because they never knew what he was going to do.
Right. You throw them off.
Yeah. And so, but when you watched him, it was electrifying every single night. It was electrifying because you had no idea where he was going with anything.
And I guess he figured, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to learn.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I think that his thing is that he's so in the moment.
Oh, yeah.
And every night is
it's
a different day.
Yes.
It's a different night. It's a different everything.
And it's so interesting because, I always hear that Joaquin Phoenix is that guy. He
Right.
doesn't want to rehearse a lot for scenes.
Oh, wow.
And he'll surprise other actors in a scene by sort of, doing it differently every time.
Right.
And a lot of actors really don't like that, but it does seem to be the actor that's willing to do that is the one that stands out the most.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think so, yes.
But I just want to back up for 1 second because
Sure.
I am curious about something. So, you saw these actors hanging out and having a blast and you thought, I want to do that. But clearly you were much more serious about it than that because you really pursued it as a study.
Yeah.
So my question is, when did that, I want to be one of these people, turn into, I want to really learn this craft and be an actor?
Well, I don't know. I think that's just my personality. Whenever I do something, it's got to be. It's just I have to go all in, no matter what it is.
Yes.
And sometimes that's not good.
Right.
Drugs and alcohol, not good.
Right. Good
I'm
points.
the best coke addict in the world. Number
really
one.
committed to that.
I got 21 years sober, so I can say that.
Congratulations.
But so yeah, so I'm all in. So whatever I choose to do, it's going to be all in.
And when you started, working, did you instantly love performing?
Well, it's odd because I was very shy. Very shy. So I didn't really love it, or I did love it deep down inside. So I pushed myself to do it because I was just shy. So I really had to love it to get past the shyness.
Right.
Yeah.
I find that so fascinating. Performers who are so talented, who have to push themselves to perform, like the fact that you were able to push yourself out of your comfort zone to do something like that. I mean, that's big.
Yeah.
I know it's obviously everyone knows that public speaking is like the number one fear.
For most people, it is.
For most people.
Right.
And to do that when you're especially shy, I don't know. I just find it fascinating.
I think there's a big difference between performing and socializing. So for a lot of people who are shy, if they can get inside of a role, that pulls them out.
Yeah.
But then to walk into a room and be yourself is scary.
What's scary.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's a
right.
very good point.
Yeah.
So what was your first acting role then in theater?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you do a lot of theater before film?
Well, summer stock. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. And how old were you when you did that?
Well, I was in college when I was doing it, so I was 18, 19, 20, 21.
So when's the first time that your parents came to see you in something?
Well, they never really did, and what happened was I was very lucky in the beginning of my career in that I booked a lot of commercials, and so I finally had saved up on my own, and this is in the 80s, $100,000 in the bank, and for 20-year-olds.
That's pretty impressive.
In the 80s, it's not bad.
In the 80s, too. That's
and so it was just commercials and residuals.
Right.
And some modeling. I was with Ford Models, so some modeling as well. But the modeling didn't pay like the residuals.
Right.
That's where the money comes. It used to anyway. And so I told them I'm dropping out because I got a movie. And so I said, I'm dropping out of college. Oh, if you do, we're cutting you off. And I said, go ahead.
Mom, I can spot you.
Yeah.
Oh, that must have felt so good.
Yeah, they didn't know. They didn't know I had the money.
They didn't know.
No.
And in the 80s, when you booked a national commercial, I mean, like you just said, that was real money.
Yeah, like $25,000.
Correct. And now not so much.
Yeah, but also it kept compounding,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you could feel pretty flush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been the greatest feeling ever.
Right. And I actually didn't drop out. What I did was at Columbia, I went there and I said, hey, I've got a movie for 4 weeks. It shoots in New York City. It's this famous producer, Julia Phillips, first woman to ever win an Academy Award. I gave them this whole pitch and they were going to give me credit for it as long as I wrote about it afterwards. And so they're going to give me the time off. But what happened is I booked a miniseries in Europe right after that.
Ooh.
And the miniseries was 4 months, 2 months in Morocco, 2 months in Rome. And I never looked back.
So what was the first film?
It was a movie called The Beat, and it's an interesting film in that it was Julia Phillips' last film. So Julia Phillips is a controversial character. Her book, which is very successful, but as she wrote the book, said the title was "You'll Never Eat Lunch in This Town Again."
Oh, yeah.
And because she named names, David Geffen. She talked about everybody.
She pulled a Capote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she's the first woman. I think she won the Academy Award for Sting. She produced Sting.
Oh, wow.
She produced that great movie with De Niro, Taxi Driver. Yeah. So she had quite a career. And then the other two producers were Nick Wexler, who went on to be Addis Wexler. Nick Wexler produced Sex, Lies, and Videotape. That was his first movie. And John Killick, who went on to become Robert Altman's producing partner. So it was a nice. The movie didn't do well.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was a good start.
And then what was the miniseries?
The miniseries was something that was done with Rai TV and Canal Plus. So it was a European production. And I don't think it ever made it to the United States, but it's called El Secreto de Sahara, The Secret of the Sahara.
Okay.
With Andy McDowell and Michael York and Ben Kingsley, Jean-Pierre Cassel, huge foreign cast. They had a famous person from every country in Europe. And so it was a great experience for like a 20-year-old.
Yes, I would think so.
Yeah. So, to be in Morocco with these people on the Sahara Desert for 2 months, it was just David Soul. There it is.
Yeah,
it's
because
funny.
it made it to IMDb Roulette. Which
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
But yeah, the titles
That's
are
crazy. It never made it to America. There it is. So
That is
Hotel
so
Sahara.
awesome.
That is
It
so
looks
crazy.
very
I've never
arid.
even seen them. I've never seen it.
very arid miniseries.
You've literally never seen
I've
this?
never seen it. It's never
Oh,
came
look.
to the United States. I don't
Oh,
know
look,
where,
here you
where you
come.
guys found this.
On a camel.
Diego, wait, this is them.
In
Yeah.
slow motion, too.
The Baywatch of the Sahara.
There it is.
Oh my God, that's so scary.
That is so wild.
Yeah.
You guys
William
are
McNamara.
good.
They spelled my name wrong, those bastards. I can't believe it.
Well, that's how it's spelled in Italian.
That's from 40 years ago. I never saw that. That's so angering. Why would they do that?
That's
Jean-Pierre
what we
Cassel
do
told
on
you.
MediaPath is we try to anger our guests as early. First, we surprise you by
And then
showing
we
you something
enrage
you've
you.
never seen, but then we like to anger you right afterwards.
Crazy.
You bastards!
so you
Bastardo.
Love it. Bastardo.
So you book Doing Time on Maple Drive, which the cast is insane. And you can talk about this because Jim Carrey plays your brother.
Right.
And at this point in time, I don't know if we knew how funny he was. He had been doing a lot of acting.
Well, that's an interesting story, Jim Carrey. I mean, I don't know if I should tell this story, but
Tell it.
so at the time, Maple Drive was kind of a big deal. A lot of good actors were involved, and they offered it to me. And a lot of everybody told me not to do it. They said, "Don't play a gay character."
I was going to ask.
It's
Not in the
1992.
90s.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not good for your career. But it was such a great script. And I was like, I got to do this. I don't care if gay or whatever. Who cares, right? It's such a great script. And so you see these cast members, B.B. Bache, you see her, you see Jim Sicking from Hill Street Blues.
Yeah, amazing.
Lori Loughlin from
Yes.
Full House. You see this phenomenal cast. I mean, and so we, and you just saw Jim Carrey, right?
Yeah.
You saw how he looked, right? That's kind of how he looks, how he showed up looking, like the T-shirt and everything.
Okay.
So I go to the read-through. I get this show, and I'm excited. And I go to the read-through, and I recognize all these well-known. Jim Sickings, I've been a fan of his. Hill
Yeah.
Street Blues.
Phenomenal.
And so, and of course, Lori Loughlin. And I see these people. They're all really established, good, and well-dressed. And this guy comes in late. Tall, gangly, thin guy with messy hair, wearing a beat-up black T-shirt and torn black jeans and Keds.
He lived in his car.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, is that true?
Not at that time.
Okay.
No, he was.
Okay.
And so, but he came in, and right away I was depressed. I'm like, God, I thought we were going to have a great cast except for this one loser. I didn't know who he was.
Right.
And I said to myself, this guy's a loser. What's he doing here? Why is he in with us? Who is he? He sits down, we do the cast read through, and he's not good. Wow. Yeah, and I'm just sitting there going, wow. I was going to be in this great TV movie, and this guy's going to ruin it because one person can ruin a whole thing. And
Of course.
it's a show
That's
about
why I'm not in things.
it's a show about a family. It's the dynamic. You got to have the family
Yes.
dynamic. You have to, or it's not going to. It's going to fail. And so I was very disappointed with this guy. He was a total, in my opinion, loser. I shouldn't
Right.
say that, but he just came off as a loser. He was dressed really shabby, and not good. And so Ken Olin says, all right, everybody, so we're going to meet tomorrow. I want to really get together as a family, and I want to do a tennis lesson because there's a tennis scene. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, that sounds good. So we meet in the Valley by Jerry's Deli. There was that tennis. I don't know if it's still there, the indoor
No,
tennis.
they just knocked it down for a high school.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they had this. The tennis thing. We're take a tennis lesson because in the show we have to play tennis as a family. We get in a fight. It's a big thing.
Yes.
So Ken Olin's a great director. I mean, he really had us working for a full week for her. It was phenomenal. And so at the tennis thing, right? I ID this guy as a loser, and I'm going to keep my distance from the loser because I don't want to catch whatever he's got. And so I tried to stay away from him. He kept following me around. And I'm just like, why is this guy? This always happens to me. The losers always like me. Maybe I'm a loser. because the losers always hang out with me. And so I kind of felt sorry for him, like, he's trying to talk to me. I'm like, oh, God, okay. He's asking me acting questions. And he said, I noticed you're a really good actor. You did really good in the read-through and da-da-da-da. And, I'm just really new at this. And can I ask you some questions? I'm like, oh, God. I just hate this guy, but I feel sorry for him, too, because I am a nice guy.
Right.
And so I'm like, all right, dude, whatever. And then he wants to hang out with me for the whole week. And he just globs onto me. So, but after the tennis lesson, he said, hey, can I take you to lunch? Jerry's next door. And I said, oh, God, I don't want to be seen with him. But I'm like, okay. So we go over there, and I'm sitting there, and he's sitting there, and people are looking over the table. And I'm like, oh, wow. And people are starting to get up, and I see them like going over and getting like paper and pencils from the waitress. And I say to Jim, I say, oh, these people recognize you from stealing home. They're going to get my autograph. They're going to line up and get my autograph. He goes, oh, okay. He's eating. He has no idea what's going on, but I see the people getting ready. And they start lining up like an autograph convention. And sitting there, and I'm, going to reach over to get the pencil. And they're like, Jim? And I'm like, Jim? Yeah.
Jim's not a nickname for William.
Yeah. and Jim's like, yeah. And they said, could we get your autograph? Fireman Bob, can you do Fireman Bob on the thing? Can you write that on there? And I'm like...
So he was already in Living Color.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's how it was a Fox show. His manager put him in this. He didn't even audition. And shouldn't have been in there.
Wow. But he's good in the movie.
Hold on.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
This is how I knew he was going to be a superstar.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm like, okay, this guy is somebody famous. I'd never heard of In Living Color because nobody watched Fox. But apparently people did watch Fox because there was 20 people that wanted his. Not one person knew who I was or cared.
God.
So I I warmed up to him a little bit at this point because he's a star, I guess, and so we started hanging out, and I was giving him coaching basically, and everything, and he was so humble and wanted my help, and so first day on set. So now we're filming. We've done the week of our rehearsals and our tennis. We did a couple of other things together, and we all start our first day. And Jim goes, oh, I'd like to make an announcement. And I'm like, Jim, what are you doing? To all these strangers, 60 crew people. It's like, let's like to make an announcement. And he's like, oh, okay, well, what are you, Ken, none of us know what he's going to do. And he says, listen, I'm not a great dramatic actor, and I know that. And I'm going to try really, really hard to be good. I want to be good. And Billy's been a big help. Thank you, Billy. I'm like, sure, whatever. Don't look at me, dude. Right. Don't get me involved in your weird stuff. No actor does this, by the way. I've never seen this in 40 years. Have you ever seen an actor do this? He said, and I just want to let you guys know, if you think I'm doing a lousy job or anything I do wrong and you have advice, just come right up to me and tell me, Jim, you're not good. Do something different.
Wow.
And I was just like, wow, this guy is crazy. but in those 20 days, he became a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
And I just told all my friends, I said, this guy, Jim Carrey, he is going to be a major, mark my words. I told my girlfriend at the time, this guy is going to be such a big movie star. I've never met anybody like him. He's so dedicated, so committed, so humble, so 1,000% in the game.
And so spongy. That's how quickly he absorbed what was happening.
Yes, and he was phenomenal in Maple Drive.
He is.
Wild.
Yes, he's
what
phenomenal.
A story.
Yeah.
And I mean, just how he completely turned your opinion around. Do you think, looking back, that he dressed that way for the table read and everything to feel more like the character? Or do you think he just had no idea what was going on?
No, that's him. That's him. Mm-hmm, that's him.
Okay, I have a question that's, completely ordinary, so forgive me.
Okay.
Did he ever go in and out of characters and stuff for you guys?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He did? On that set?
He has a skit that he's never done, and it's called The Boy Behind the Tree, and it's very funny. The boy just kind of peeks up from behind a tree. Yeah, he's never done that I know of, but he used to do it on the
We
set.
love Boy Behind a Tree.
I can picture that.
We want 20 episodes.
Yes. What a great story.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're really responsible for Jim Carrey's career. You heard it here first.
Well, I can take credit for Courtney Cox doing Ace Ventura.
Oh, wait.
Well, before we get to that, I
Okay.
want to
But
stay on
please
Maple
come
Drive.
back to that, though.
Yes,
Okay.
bookmark that, but I want to
Bookmark
stay on
that.
Maple Drive because I watched it when it was on in the 90s, and then I watched it again this weekend, and you guys can watch it. It's on YouTube.
It's so good.
I want to know which kids who needed that, who watched that in the 90s or in every subsequent decade, have come up to you or written to you because that was exactly the movie they needed to see.
Well, Maple Drive has been the I mean, as far as like getting accolades or whatever, there's nothing that compares to Maple Drive. I mean, the people that it's touched and the people that have come up to me and or emailed me or Facebook messaged me, you changed my life, you saved my life. I show this to my parents. I was minutes away from committing suicide, and Maple Drive came out, and I was able to show it to my parents, and they accepted me.
That's unreal.
Yeah. And so-
let's just say this is 1992.
Yeah.
The AIDS epidemic is
Yeah.
in full swing. And it's about, just for those who haven't seen it, it's about a family who wants to appear perfect to the outside world.
And they're a kind of a fancy family, thus the tennis, which also serves as a metaphor throughout the piece
Right.
Yeah.
of how perfect they feel like they need to be.
Correct.
Right.
And they have one son who has a drinking problem,
Yes.
Right.
played by our own Jim Carrey. And then they have a daughter who's married to like a photographer who doesn't make enough money for them to have
Yes.
a baby.
Baby,
And then
right.
their perfect son is Billy.
Yes.
Going to Yale.
And he plays
yes.
Matt.
Right.
But Matt has a secret that
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yes, so you come out to your mom in the film, to both of your parents in the film.
Right.
One of them is accepting and one is not.
Correct.
And so, so you're saying you really inspired that movie really inspired a
Oh,
lot
it's
of.
had a huge impact, and I didn't realize, but it's had a huge impact, and I'm so grateful that I did that. I'm more proud of Maple Drive than anything I've ever done because of what I've gotten back from it. The people that have come up to me, and literally people have said, had no choice but to commit suicide. There's no way my parents would accept this, or my brother, or my sister, or whatever. No, my school. There was just no way until I saw that movie.
Unreal.
Yeah.
And did you feel that it caused any hiccups in your career, or did it only help?
I don't know. Actually,
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
your performance is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully they took my performance.
Right.
But yeah.
I hope it's okay to bring up the fact that your co-star, one of the co-stars of the movie who played Andy,
He passed away.
passed,
right after the movie.
right, of
Yeah.
AIDS. Is
of
that
AIDS,
correct?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm assuming that had to have been of some impact as
And
well.
BB Bache died soon after as well from
did?
cancer.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's that actress. I can't remember her name. She's the mother of is it Samantha Mathis or somebody?
Oh, is she?
BB
I think
Bache.
the internet knows these
Yes.
things.
let's-
Now we can go back to Courtney Cox.
Okay.
But I will say this:
Okay.
that
Yes.
we were
Samantha Mathis.
Samantha Mathis. I will say this that they were, except for BB Bache because they knew she had cancer, but they were blackballed at the Emmys.
Really?
Yep, they didn't. They were the Maple Drive because it was about it.
Hollywood?
Yes,
because it was.
I think so.
A gay theme?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
People are just so.
Well, maybe they were worried about America. I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know. Maybe they were more worried about America. So there is that issue. So that is an issue.
So no nominations.
Except for BB Bache, but BB Bache did a huge push, and also she had announced that she also was ill, and she's been doing television for a long time. She's quite a legend as
Right,
an actress,
right.
and she's very well respected. But they wouldn't nominate anybody else.
I think the movie's role was not to win awards, but to save lives and
Yeah.
change, and
Absolutely.
give people hope for their future and
Absolutely.
their authentic selves.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Wow.
So now we go back to
Okay, so now we go back to Courtney Cox. So
Right.
how were you instrumental in getting Courtney Cox?
So after Maple Drive. Me and Jim stayed friends for a long time, and I'll never forget. He called me. He bought his first home. He made enough money from living color to buy Hancock Park adjacent.
Okay.
So he called me and said, "Hey, I want you and Tammy, that was my girlfriend at the time, come over. I'm having a little housewarming party. I bought a house. It's our first house, Billy, and I've got a baby." His wife had a baby. And so we went. I was excited to see it. And it was very funny, very cute, because like he was homeless, like you said, right? So this is first house that he's purchased, and it's Hancock Park adjacent. Mm-hmm. And so we get there, and I live at the time, pretty big house in Malibu on the beach. So I'm living in a big house, okay, on the beach in Malibu. And so we get there, and it's a tiny house. It's this tiny. He's so proud of it, and I was like, He gave us a tour, which lasted 45 seconds, and he was so proud. He's like, "Look at this corner and this corner over here," and I was just like with Tammy, but I love him. He's such a good guy, and it's like, well, this is great, but it was tiny. Yeah. I'm like, how does anybody live in a place like this? It was the size of our walk-in closet.
Oh, that's so funny.
But he was so proud. Yeah. And then he said, "All right, so what do you think?" I said, "It's fantastic." And we sat down to dinner, and he goes, "Oh, I didn't show you the main thing." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "The garage, I've converted it." And I said, "Oh, wonderful. Let's go look at the garage." And so we go out to the garage and get in there, and it's got all these lights, it's well lit, and it has all these mirrors, and they were at angles. Mirrors angled on the floor and angled on the ceiling everywhere. And so right away, me and Tammy got a bad vibe, like this is a sex thing. They were into weird sex because his wife was a massage therapist, maybe into tantra.
Right.
So right away, we're panicking, like,
Were
"Oh
they
no,
in a
we're not
yoga
going
cult?
to, we're not going to, we're not going to do this. We're not getting into taking our clothes off and looking at the mirrors. Just not going to happen."
Fair.
And so I finally had to say, I said, "Jim, I just got to ask you, man, what are the mirrors for up there, man?" And he goes, "Oh, this is where I practice my routines. Watch this." And he does Fireman Bob. And he goes, "See, I can see the exact line of my neckline. And down there, I could see my ankle down there."
What?
And he wanted to, and I said, "Jim, how much time do you spend in it? It's kind of crazy." And he said, "At least 6 hours every day."
No kidding.
Yeah. And so we left, and I already thought he was going to start from that speech he gave on set, and then he was great. And so I said to Tammy, I said, "This guy is going to be a huge star." At the time, I'm friends with Courtney Cox, and she wanted to get a screen test for a movie that I was doing called Chasers.
Yes.
Ended up being Erica Liniak that got the part. And for whatever reason, I pitched Courtney Cox, and Dennis just wasn't interested. And she was my best friend, so I really wanted her in it, obviously. And so she goes, "Oh, I'm so upset, Billy. I really wanted to do Chasers with you. I really thought it would be great opportunity. And I been offered this crappy movie." And it was Morgan Creek did Chasers and Morgan Creek did Ace Ventura.
Okay.
So she wanted to be in the Morgan Creek Chaser movie, not. And she goes, "I've been offered this horrible movie. It's just the script is terrible." And it shoots in Florida, and I'm not going to do it. I just can't do crap, Billy. I'm not going to do it. I'm not desperate. She had money. She was very,
right.
She would renovate houses in Brentwood and Palisades, and Santa Monica, and she made a lot of money. She was very smart with her money. Mm-hmm. So she was in good shape. Never had to worry about doing a job for. She goes, "I'm just not going to do it." And I said, "Well, who's in it?" She goes, "Jim Carrey." I'm like, "Okay, it's his first movie." She goes, "Yeah, he's a comedian, but he's from Living Color." I said, No. You have to do this movie." She's like, "What?" And he goes, "Whatever this guy is touching is going to turn to gold.
Wow.
You must do this movie." She goes, "Well, I'm worried because her and Michael Keaton were dating, and they broke up at that point." And she said, "I'm afraid if I leave California, if I leave L.A., Michael's going to forget about me."
Oh.
And it shoots in Florida.
This is how girls think.
Yeah. And I said to her, no. If you go to Florida and do a movie with Jim Carrey, Michael's going to follow you. He's going to get jealous. He's going to follow you to Florida. Are you sure?
Billy,
I said,
that's such good advice.
Yeah. And so I was right, too, by the way.
You're like a soothsayer. This is insane.
He did follow her there.
Uh-huh. Wow.
And they got back together. And she called me one night, late at night, and she goes, "Guess where I am?" I said, "Where?" She goes, "It's like 2 a.m. where she was." And she goes, "I'm South Beach, and I'm in the ocean with Jim and the director." I can't remember the director's name. We're naked. We're skinny dipping.
With a phone?
Yeah.
And was she happy she did that movie ultimately?
Super happy.
Of course.
And it kicked off her career.
Wow.
Yeah. And the movie made $100 million.
Yeah.
You know, for back then, that's a lot of money.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Sensational, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
It really is. I
Yeah.
love you. I mean, it really feels like you know things.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Well, you know things at least having to do with Jim Carrey.
Yes.
I don't know how you are outside the Jim Carrey.
I know everything about
universe.
Jim Carrey.
That's his wheelhouse. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I want to hear about when you were told you were going to be playing Montgomery Clift in an Elizabeth Taylor movie.
Yeah.
Do you study his movies or do you just say, no, I'm going to
Well,
be
it's
my-
another great story you're not going to believe.
I won't.
So I was very fortunate when I first came to Los Angeles. A very well-known photographer named Greg Gorman took me under his wing, very big celebrity photographer. And he had brought me to a dinner party at Roddy McDowall's house. And Roddy McDowall lived around here too, by the way. I can't remember.
did?
Yeah. And so I think right off Laurel or Coldwater.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and he really took me under his wing. Roddy's like, I'm going to, and every Wednesday night he'd have a dinner party and there'd be the most famous people from all walks of life, from Helen Mirren with Isaac Asimov to John Williams. I mean, just an incredible selection of, artists, writers, directors, movie stars, John Williams, composers, just the most amazing people all the time. And so he was just a great friend. And I was going to do the miniseries. And at the time, unfortunately, Elizabeth Taylor was suing the network.
Oh.
Because it was based on an unauthorized biography.
Okay.
But the biography had already come out. And she
Right.
sued and she lost on that. So now, but she's suing the network to stop them from. And by the way, it's very interesting. There was nothing negative about her. It's an amazing, flattering story about
Right.
Elizabeth Taylor. It was just like a complete fluff piece. Made her look fantastic. So I don't know why, but she was very, oh yeah, there it is right there. There's Sherilyn Fenn, beautiful. Yeah, she really, really is. And so she, there's Monty Clift.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll tell you a great story. That's unfortunately, it sounds like all my things I did off set is more exciting than the stuff I've done on set. Which
But that's okay.
I guess-
we like
Yeah,
to
that
go
means-
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I called Roddy. I said, Roddy, I'm playing Monty Clift. Now Roddy was best friends with Monty Clift.
Whoa.
Roddy has home movies
Oh, wow.
with Monty, Natalie Wood, all in Malibu at Natalie's house. Natalie Wood, home movies that nobody's ever seen. Home movies on 8mm.
Right.
With Natalie Wood, Montgomery Clift, and Roddy
Amazing.
playing all the time together. They were best friends.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so he had everything. He introduced me to Monty's boyfriend, who had cufflinks and all this. Gave me these things to wear in the show that belonged to Monty Clift. And I can say now, because both Roddy and Elizabeth are passed on, is Roddy said, I'll try to see if Elizabeth will talk to you. But she's so angry about this.
Oh.
I don't think she would be very upset that you're doing it, and probably not the best, but I'll ask because nobody knew him better than her.
Right.
Right.
So a couple days later, I get a call. She'll talk to you. But you can't tell anybody, ever. And I said, oh, wow, okay. So came over to Roddy's house. Liz was there. And it's emotional because she said, I'm just going to tell you one story. And that's it. And I'm going to leave. Don't interrupt. Just listen to the story. It's going to last 2 or 3 minutes. That's it. And then I'm going to leave. And I said, okay. Oh, great, whatever. And she told me about A Place in the Sun. She said, just to let you know who this was. She said that, he arrived on set and nobody knew him. She didn't know him, but he was a legend because he was this New York actor that people were talking about. This guy's one of the great, he's like Marlon Brando, James
Right.
Dean, Monty Clift. He's one of those. And so she grew up in the studio system, acting and going to acting classes at the studio, on the studio lots, not the acting studio, but the studio lots. And she said that we didn't know him. Nobody knew him, but everybody was excited to work with Montgomery Clift. The crew, everybody. And he shows up, and the first day of shooting, unfortunately, is one of the hardest scenes in the whole movie. It's the scene where the police are coming for him, and he's got to come and tell me that something's happened. He's going to be accused of something. He didn't do it, and he loves me. And you hear, as he's saying the thing to me, the sirens are going off, and the police are coming to get him for killing Shelley Winters, his girlfriend. Supposedly kicked her off the boat and drowned her. I don't know if you're familiar with the movie A Place in the Sun. Mm-hmm. And so he shows up on set, and we're all excited to meet him. I want to meet him. I'm Elizabeth Taylor. People want to meet me, so it's going to not be a problem. He went into his trailer, and he shut the door, and he told the AD he didn't want to see anybody, talk to anybody. And we're all like, what? Kind of rude. And she said he would come out to makeup, and he was something was wrong. He was shaking, and it seemed like he was going through a really hard time. Something had happened back east, maybe his mom or a family member or something in his personal life is not going well. And his mind was elsewhere, they thought. And so he didn't talk to anybody. He wasn't social at all, a little rude. And she said it was very strange, and people were very disappointed. But we were also very concerned because there was something definitely wrong with him, and something terrible must have happened to him. So while we're disappointed, we understand he's going through something. And so came time to the scene, and he wouldn't rehearse. Huh. Then they say, all right, we're going to shoot it. He comes out. And he comes. The scene starts, and she's kind of there, ready to act. She said, and she got all her lines perfectly, and she knows exactly how and what she's going to say, exactly when. And she said, all of a sudden, this real human being appeared in front of her, and she realized, oh my God, he's not acting. The scene everything is real to him.
Wow.
This is real, what's going on. She said in that moment, everything she knew about acting changed in a second. Being on set in that energy with him, she became, for the first time in her life and her career, she said, it was real.
Wow. His
realness became my realness. And when she said, she goes, and I've never ad-libbed ever, when I said, tell mama everything, that was I don't know where that came from. But that guy, the magic he put me in, we were in it. This was really happening. We were transformed. We were transported somewhere else.
Right.
It was a real situation that was happening right now. He was about to be arrested, and I loved him.
Wow. So you're saying that whole thing that happened during the day before they shot and everything was him already in character being that person?
Yep.
Wow.
That was his process?
Yeah. Yep.
So how did that help you? Bring him to life?
Well, I recreate the scene. I do the scene. And,
okay.
And so I was able to, I had so much from that.
Did she really sit down, tell you that story, and walk out?
She walked out.
She really did?
Yes.
Wow. What an insane, incredible memory for you to have.
Yes.
I can't even fathom.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a selfie, nothing.
No. I did get invited to her house. I can't remember whose funeral it was. Not hers. Somebody had died, famous. I can't remember who it was, though. And she did invite me, and I was there.
Oh, wow.
So did she end up being less upset about it once it came out, or no?
I don't know. Actually,
Okay.
we never spoke about it again.
How incredible. It's really incredible that she, even talked to you after what Roddy McDowall said, that what her reaction would be.
Right.
And then that she shared something so major with you.
Right.
And then just left.
Right.
That's the stuff of legends.
It's a credit. It's a credit to Roddy McDowall. Mm-hmm. He had to have told her, this is a special person. This is a person I love. This is a person you will love. I'm thinking. I don't know for sure, but I just know
so.
I know that Roddy put that together.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really incredible.
Yeah. From what we've heard, he was a big connective tissue.
Yes.
He pulled people together. He pulled people under his wing.
Yes.
Took care of people.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he, all right, so we have to transition
Okay.
hard, like a hard left.
All right. I'm going to ask a question. But go. You go.
Oh, no, go ahead and ask
I just want to know if you and Sherilyn Fenn became friends after that.
Oh, my God.
Because they play best friends and they're these...
No. Actually, Sherilyn got me that part. We were boyfriend, girlfriend. We first met when we first were in L.A. And I think she just broke up with Johnny Depp. And we met at a screen test at Paramount. And we fell madly in love. And we were together for a little while. Not that long.
You fell madly in love at a screen test?
Yeah.
That's so Hollywood. I love it.
That happened with her, and later on happened with Jennifer Connelly. So yes.
Whoa.
Yeah. So yeah, that happens. That's why don't date an actor or actress. Don't do it. You're going to regret
not a
it.
successful one.
Right.
Yeah, like my husband's fine with me. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So were you dating during the filming?
Oh, no.
You had already been broken up.
Yeah. And
Okay.
she recommended me. She said, I think you should get Billy McNamara. They wanted Rob Lowe, and I don't think Rob Lowe would do it. I don't know. But she said, Billy McNamara. And they finally said, okay, call Billy and see if he'll do it.
I'm so happy I asked that question.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you should ask all the questions.
I should, but you were about to take a left turn,
I
so
was
I
about to
appreciate
take a
you
left.
letting me
I'm
ask the
glad
question.
this was like sort
Left
of
turn.
a buffer.
Yes.
To where like now it's one of those, circles where you go round and then a roundabout. Yeah,
Thank you,
that's more of a
Dina.
roundabout.
That's why we need producers.
The Coreys.
Yeah.
So you find yourself in Coreyland, and there was like a minute in time where everybody was all about the Coreys, and we're just wondering what it was like inside that bubble.
Well, I was not a great experience.
I was
like,
thinking.
Yeah, I was like a New York actor, and it came down to North Carolina, and they were all over the map. They were all over just so goofy. Corey Haim's a very nice kid. He's got a good heart, but they were both like, the set would shut down for the day. He's just like, wait, what? Oh no, they don't feel like coming to set. They're a little hungover. I'm like, well, we're going to stop shooting? And this happened more than once.
So the movie is Dream a Little Dream.
Right.
And it's got Corey Haim and Corey Feldman in the middle of Corey Mania.
But it's also got the reason why I was attracted to it, and the reason why I did it is because it had Jason Robards, Harry Dean Stanton, and Piper Laurie. So it had this great cast.
It really is a tale of two different types of people.
Yes.
It makes, I have to tell you, I had to stop.
Yeah.
I had to stop watching it because it was genuinely like watching these several brilliant actors in the same movie.
I know.
With goofballs.
Right. He's always pretending to be Michael Jackson. It's all he would do is wear Michael Jackson clothes and dresses like Michael the whole movie.
And he did that in real life.
In real life,
in real life.
So
it was crazy.
Yeah, so
Meredith Salinger too.
Oh yeah, she's great.
She's great.
Yeah,
yes.
she's an A+ character.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a great person.
Because you're saying what I was picturing, which was that the world would stop for these two boys, but no one was actually helping them grow up.
Right. Yeah, they were
For
definitely
sure.
stuck in
Right.
and just had too much access and too much of everything. And the funny thing is, in my opinion, I hate to say this, but as kids, they were cute and wonderful, just cute and wonderful. Most kids are, by the way.
Sure.
But I don't think they developed any real chops.
Right.
And so that's a problem. And they thought they were, James Dean and Monty Clift, those two guys.
So Corey Feldman did not stand up in front of the crew and say, "Everybody come tell me
No.
if I'm not doing a good
and
job."
And my acting coach, I had this very famous acting coach in New York City. His name is Harold Guskin. He's a legend. He was the private coach to like every major New York actor. On set with that, everybody. James Gandolfini was but Kevin Kline, every movie Kevin did, Harold was right there.
Wow.
And so I brought Harold the script, Dream a Little Dream, to work on with me. And so he read the script, and I got there, and I said, "Okay, what are you?" He says, "Listen, this script is so bad. There is nothing we can do, Billy. I'm sorry. I'm not going to take your money for this." And he said, "Maybe do something, I don't know, maybe do your whole character in French."
It It couldn't have hurt. It could not
So
have
I did
hurt.
do crazy stuff. I did this whole thing where I punctuated so I did do some crazy stuff.
Right.
He told me just to do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just do crazy stuff.
Oh.
There's nothing you could do with this, he said. So just do crazy stuff. And I did. And it was great. And people still remember. They come, oh, Joel, when you did this. I'm like, yep.
That
You were that guy.
is awesome.
You were that guy.
Oh
So
my
how
God.
does Copycat derail your career and or your trajectory in terms of like dating and everything else? Because I've just seen the headlines on the internet that Copycat had a big impact on your life.
Well, it's a strange story, and yes, and so. And so,
And just in case, again, for people who haven't seen it, definitely see it.
Yeah.
You play a fairly deranged
serial killer
who is
Yeah.
copycatting
Right.
other famous serial killers.
Right.
And you are that classic, handsome, young,
Right.
white male,
Right.
who Sigourney Weaver talks about in the beginning of the movie, who, is doing really disturbing things.
Right. And when they first contacted me, I thought it was for the Dermot Mulrooney role.
Oh, okay.
I thought, they're sending me the script, and I want to play the cop. I want to play Holly Hunter's partner.
Right.
It wasn't cast yet. They had Holly and they had Sigourney, but everything else was wide open. So, I read the script, and they said the director wants to meet you at the Chateau Marmont. So I go to the Chateau Marmont, and no audition though. I bring the script, and it's like, it's not going to audition me for the role, the cop, the detective, and we just talk. And so I leave the meeting, and my agent calls me and says, "Well, he really likes you. John really likes you a lot, but doesn't see you in this movie." I said, "Okay, whatever. I don't care." And so drive back to Malibu, no big deal. A week later, they called me and said, he wants to see you again. I said, I got to drive all the way in from Malibu to am I going to audition? He goes, no, there's nothing to audition. I said, I'm going to drive in just to talk? For what?
Right.
He said, just do it. So I went in, talked. And at this point, the cast director, Billy Hopkins, was filming. And John was like talking to me like a psychiatrist, taking me through all this sort of like therapy. It was weird. So, and so I left, and about a week later, my agent calls and says, yeah, they want you in the movie. I said, great. So I'm Holly Hunter's partner. And they said, oh, no. I'm like, well, what character am I? And he said, they want you for the serial killer. I'm like, are you kidding me? I can't do that. I don't know how to play a bad guy. No, I can't do it.
Wow.
And they said, well, it's a studio movie, Billy. You could really, could be really good for you. It's Sigourney Weaver. It's Holly Hunter. It's a big movie, Sigourney Weaver. And so I was like, okay. So I do all this work. I do all this preparation. I hired these two very famous, Dr. Park Dietz, who's the most famous forensic psychiatrist in the world. Stories about him, legendary. The other guy, Robert Ressler, was the deputy chief of the FBI, and they made a TV series about him on Netflix. He was the original guy that founded the profiling thing. And there's a whole series about Ressler. So I met with him. Met with two of the top guys in the world, and I got all this incredible information. I saw video stuff that nobody should ever see that they showed me. Yeah, really dark stuff. So I probably know more about serial killers than 99% of the cops and FBI agents out there, because they showed me everything.
Oh, God. And through that prep, did you feel like, okay, I can do this?
Well, I mean, I did the prep, and I did all this preparation in order to feel confident.
Right.
And so this is a bad story. Do we have time?
Tell it.
So this is a very bad story.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And so I thought I did a good job, and everybody said I did a good job. And so and by the way, prior to Copycat, I had done this movie called Stealing Home with Jodie Foster. I'm the boy next door, the boy next door. And so anytime my agent would try to submit me for an edgier role, the cast director would say, no, I know Billy McNamara. He's soft. He's soft. He's feminine. He's too soft. Yeah, that's what I got all the time.
I would call it boyish.
Well, yeah. And so then Copycat. That's why I was convinced I was soft too. I believed them. The cast director said that they're right. They must be right. They know more than I do. And so, but I do the movie. And about 3 months later, I'm in Westwood walking with my best friend. And these two girls are sitting at a cafe and they hey, come here. Two cute girls. So I'm like, oh, let's go over there. And so they go, oh, we recognize you. And I said, from Stealing Home? And they're like, no, what's that? And I said, oh, movie I did with Jodie Foster. I said, no, we just saw you in a movie. I said, oh, which one? Copycat. And I'm like, Copycat? That's impossible. It's not out yet. I haven't even done ADR on it. And so they said, no, we saw you in the Valley. They called it a test screening. And I'm like, oh. And I didn't even know what that was. I was so green. I was so new. It's like, oh, well, what's that? Well, that's where they showed the movie and they hand out a questionnaire and there's an audience and they do a question and answer and then we fill out the questionnaire. Yep. I said, how was the movie? And they go, not too good. I'm like, this is my big break too, right? I'm like, and I've put a lot into this movie. You know, I spent $10,000 just on these two guys to get the research. And so, and I was dedicated to the role, by the way. I was dedicated.
Right.
And so then I made the mistake of asking, how was I? Hoping they'd say, oh, you were great.
Right.
And they're like, not too good. And they said, you scored 30%.
What?
That's bad. That's below F.
Is that just because people didn't like, they were reacting viscerally? They didn't like your character?
No. It's the character was boring, they said, and cerebral.
Oh.
So it turns out when you have to entertain people as an actor. So you could be a serial killer, sure. But, you know, and what I saw in the videos, like I got to see a lot of the Dahmer videos, including of him, because he would film himself cutting these people up.
Oh, God.
So I saw that. And it's very mundane.
Right.
There's nothing exciting. He's not doing like in Silence of the Lambs, the guy's running around in his underwear, you know, with piercings. That's not the way these guys are, actually.
Right.
They're very boring.
Right.
And it's very methodical and quiet, and it's very, you know, cerebral. So I was doing a really unique, very authentic, and very real portrayal of these guys. And that might be great, but guess what? It's boring. It's boring.
It's so funny, though, because it really isn't. I mean, in watching the movie, it's compelling and terrifying.
Well, no, there's more.
Oh, okay. I keep cutting you off.
Yeah.
First I beg you to tell it, and then I...
And so my friend goes, let's get out of here. They're BSing you. They're trying to mess with you. I said, oh, you're probably right. So we walked off. I thought, you know, I believe that they saw the movie, but I think they were lying to, you know, they were jealous, whatever we'd say to ourselves, and, you know, girls pick on us. And so then the next day, I got a phone call from my agent at CAA. And he says, I have good news and bad news.
I hate that sentence.
Yep.
It's not a good sentence.
Not a good sentence.
Yeah.
Good news is they're not going to fire you. Bad news is you're reshooting 21 days.
Oh, my
Is that all of your
gosh.
sknow
Yes. Oh. Well, they hired Frank Darabont to rewrite everything. So it wasn't, by the way, so it wasn't all my fault. I don't know if I could say this. I don't hope Sigourney Weaver. She didn't score well either.
Okay.
Better than me, obviously, but she didn't score well either. The movie as a whole didn't score well. And so they hired Frank Darabont to come in. Do you know who he is, right?
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, but he's also a great writer, besides being a great director. He's the creator of Walking Dead, I think.
Oh.
That's Frank Darabont.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's you know, amazing. And so they hired him, paid him a lot of money, I can't tell you, but enormous, to rewrite all my scenes. Wow. Now, this full circle back to Roddy McDowall. So I'm in a panic. I'm like, oh my God, I ruined this, you know, and they're spending like $10, $11 million to reshoot this. 21 days, that's a lot. And so I called Roddy, because the only person, Roddy, you know, what do I do? This is what happened. Right. And I'm panicking, I'm having a panic attack, because calm down. I'll tell you what, when you get the rewrite, You call me. I'm going to have my guy, Tony, is going to come and coach you on it. We're going to get you through this. I promise you, Billy. Tony's going to get you through this. So I didn't know who Tony was, but I know Roddy McDowall knows all the best people. So this is going to be the best acting coach. If he's got to bring him in from London, he's coming in from London, Tony. And so I get the script. I call him. He says, great. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to have dinner at my house tomorrow night. Come over at 6 o'clock. I get there 6. He's there. This chef is making the food. And he says, well, Tony's not here yet, so go out on the veranda, have some tea. So I'm out on the veranda, having some tea. And I brought all my notes with me just to show, look, 200 pages of notes that I've got, handwritten notes about the serial killers, right? And so I hear a voice. It says, William, look of a British voice. And I look over at the doorway, and I just see a head pop around the corner. And he goes, William? And I go, Tony? And he goes, mm-hmm. Tony Hopkins.
What?
Silence of the Lambs.
Stop it.
Dead serious.
What? So he worked with you on the
did.
character?
He did. And he asked me,
This
first
is
thing
the
he said, what'd you do
best.
for preparation? What'd you do? What happened? I gave him the things. He grabbed it, threw it over his back into Roddy's yard. And he said, that's just a pile of shit. That's going to get in your way. You don't do research, pal. Let me tell you how we do this. And then it was so simple what he told me. And and then you saw the movie. I did a pretty good job.
Yep.
That was Tony Hopkins.
What did he tell you?
Oh.
It's so simple. He said, first of all, we're going to keep this simple. Number one, we're just going to memorize the lines backwards and forwards. That's it. We're going to memorize the lines backwards and forwards, number one. Number two, you are not a serial killer. Do not fall into that trap. You are not a bad guy. You're not a serial killer. And you're going to enjoy everything. This is every moment is a joyous occasion. Everything is joyous. Do not get into the concept of a bad guy. That's a concept. Now let's memorize the lines, and then I want you to have a good time with the lines. That's it. And so we did that, spent a few hours, got to set. I did what he told me, and it was that simple.
So did that change the way you work going forward?
Yes, it did.
My God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously, we all need a Roddy McDowall in our
We
lives,
do. And
first of all.
when he passed away, it was a huge hit to me.
I can't even fathom.
Yeah, it was my anchor in this town. And when he passed, I had really nothing.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dear God. But he must have been so beloved to not only have you and I'm sure, others, but that it feels like everyone under his wing was willing to help out everyone under his wing.
Yes,
And
correct.
how lovely is that?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, we've got to talk about the web series.
Well, let's do IMDb Roulette first,
Okay.
and then we'll close with your trouble. The game's called IMDb Roulette. We say the name of one of your IMDb credits, of which you have many, and then you tell us what you remember. The first one we've already touched upon, which is Secret of the Sahara. But you could tell us, you played Philip Jordan, so tell us a little bit more about who was in it, because I was sort of blown away by the cast as well.
It was Michael York, Ben Kingsley, Andy McDowell, Jean-Pierre Cassel. Oh gosh, who else? Oh, David Soul from Starsky and Hutch.
From Here
wow.
Come the Brides, Joshua Bolt. Gosh. That's so cool.
And Never Seen in America.
I don't think it was. It wasn't sold.
And I'm glad because they spelled your friggin' name wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of slow motion camel action.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
All right, number 2.
Okay, Stealing Home. Give us one good tidbit from Stealing Home.
Well, people don't realize this, but Helen Hunt was in it. She had a small role.
Was she a child?
She played like the sister, and she wanted Jodie Foster's role, but Jodie Foster wanted the role, so she got it. So they loved her, and they gave her a small role.
I love it.
And people forget that she's.
And what's the story in Stealing Home?
It's a guy, young kid, who his father dies, when he's young, and he loses his virginity to his babysitter, Jodie Foster, and that's there it is up on the screen. So yeah, and
Your virginity looks really gone right there. It looks like a sweet movie.
It's actually a really good movie.
All right,
for
we'll
what
check
it
that
is.
one out.
And you play Mark Harmon.
Young Mark Harmon.
Young Mark
Young Mark
Harmon.
Harmon, yeah. Okay, number 3.
Oh, I did the last one.
Oh, okay. Island Son with Richard Chamberlain,
Well, Richard Chamberlain,
where he gets to be a doctor again.
a doctor, and my father in Hawaii.
Oh, he's your father.
Yeah, and
Did you film it in Hawaii?
Oh yes, filmed in Hawaii. Lived there for a year, and I thought it was going to be great, but actually, you get the island fever. It's really tough to.
It's exhausting, right?
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, even just on my honeymoon, and it might have been all the sex.
Okay.
But no, I'm kidding. But literally, I remember thinking, I have never been more tired.
Right.
Yeah. So being there for a year.
A year.
But what's Richard Chamberlain like?
Super nice guy.
Yeah.
Super duper nice. He's just an amazing person. Really nice guy. And funny enough, his father, I'm a big person in Alcoholics Anonymous. His father is Chuck C. So, and anybody in AA, they know who Chuck C is. Chuck C is one of the great AA gurus of all time.
Oh my goodness.
And wrote a book called New Pair of Glasses, which is a life-changing book. Well, that's Richard Chamberlain's father.
I never knew that.
Wow, I never knew that
Fascinating.
either.
Chuck Chamberlain, Chuck C.
Okay, your turn, Lisa.
Nightmares and Dreamscapes.
That was a lot of fun. I got to play Ricky Nelson, who I love, and got to go to Australia. That was amazing.
You did in Australia?
Yeah, they were shooting all the. It was one of the. I can't remember which network it was, but they were shooting all their stuff in Australia.
So your episode is called Rock and Roll Heaven.
Yeah.
Where this couple, I guess, makes a wrong turn and they wind up in rock and roll heaven, and you're Ricky Nelson, and you literally fall out of the clouds, attach yourself to their windshield.
Right.
How much of that was actually you?
I did a lot of it. Oh yeah, I did a lot. They had me wired onto this thing so I couldn't fall off, and did a lot of wire work in that. So I was doing a lot of wire work. That was a lot of fun.
I was just going to say, you actually enjoyed that?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was exciting, and it's like, because the wire it's a real metal wire. It'd be hard for you to get hurt, I think.
Right.
So you get to fly
That's what
around
you
and
tell
fall
yourself.
on things. And get run over, and you get to come right back up again.
Oh my God.
It was a lot of fun.
You can't kill dead people.
Right, exactly.
Well, they were all dead.
That's
These were all
very
the rock
true.
and roll legends in rock and roll heaven. And anytime somebody wanders in gets lost, they get grabbed because they need an audience. They
Right.
want to play. So you have to listen. Once the audience they're stuck forever listening to these people play.
That's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Okay. Yeah, the Astronaut Wives Club.
That was great. I played Bobby Kennedy. And funny enough, the director of that was the same director as Copycat, John Emile.
Oh, okay.
And so that was a lot of fun. And I had to do the Bobby Kennedy accent. I had to do the speech. I had to do all the Robert Kennedy stuff.
Okay,
I
well, how
find
does he sound?
fascinating how many people how many real people you have played.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Monty Cliff, Bobby Kennedy.
Yep.
Okay, let's hear a little of Bobby Kennedy.
I can't do it now. I had a speech coach at the
Well,
time.
yeah,
I was working my butt off on that.
Okay, Opus of an Angel.
That's an independent film I did
Yeah.
that was great, and they actually used a little girl who was really blind, never acted for in her life, and she was fantastic.
Wow.
And yeah, she did a phenomenal job. It's a great little movie. It's huge viewership on YouTube and great reviews.
Now we must discuss.
So we must discuss
Yes.
The Trouble with Billy.
Yes.
What inspired it? It seems like it's very autobiographical.
Yeah.
So give us the whole 360 on this and where people can watch it.
Well, right now we can only watch it on thetroublewithbilly.com. And it's there. It'll be everywhere in 3 months. So it'll be on like Tubi and Roku. Right now we're doing it. We're selling 10 episodes for $20 because we're raising money for dog rescues. The first one we're doing is the one that I'm on the board of, which is Eastwood Ranch Foundation. And Allison Eastwood stars in The Trouble with Billy. She's a good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And so
she has a dog rescue.
yeah, it's called Eastwood Ranch Foundation. It's in
Okay.
Agora Hills, and we have a lot of dogs and cats. It's a big, nice facility, and so yes, and that's where you could see it for now, and we're hopefully going to raise a lot of money.
And are all 10 episodes up already?
All 10 episodes are up. You could see the first episode for free. So if you
Yep.
don't like the first episode, and you could see that it's on YouTube, it's on TikTok, it's on it's on the website as well. So you could see it anywhere.
Give us a little synopsis.
It's about a guy who ends up an actor who he gets sucked up into. His career ends because he gets abducted by aliens and goes off planet with his dog, and when he goes back, his like, who are you? Where have you been? And I kind of did that. I do have experience, which we don't have time, but I do have experiences with the aliens and the UFOs.
I want to hear about that though. Don't you?
Oh my God, we're gonna have to have you back.
I can tell you in the show it happens with the abduction takes place in Topanga Canyon because it's L.A., but in reality, it's in the Hudson Valley. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Hudson Valley. It's in New York on the Hudson River.
Okay.
Little towns.
Yeah.
My mom had a horse farm up there, so there's a lot of activity, and I got sucked into it. Yep.
But now let me say this, because I watched the first episode, and I'm very surprised to hear you say this. Yes.
Yeah, we watched it.
But you're very cheeky about it in the show. You're almost making fun of people. I don't want to say making fun of people.
There's a support group for people that have been abducted.
And it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I don't want to say making fun of, but it's humorous is what I should say.
Well, I want to make the show a comedy.
Right.
And I noticed that all these shows about actors, it's like, where have you been? Oh, I got sober. I'm in AA. I'm back. Drew Barrymore has done this 100 times. Cover of People magazine. Drew Barrymore's back.
Right.
And then 6 months later, Drew Barrymore's back. She just got out of rehab and she's excited for her future. 6 months later, Drew Barrymore's back. She just got out of rehab.
But you're literally saying this is not an allegory for being involved with aliens. You're saying this honestly happened.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're not using aliens as a substitute for AA.
Right.
You're saying it really happened.
Well, it's both. It's a substitute for AA because I didn't want to do the AA thing. Gone for getting sober for 10 years. Now I'm back. Can you give me a job?
Okay.
Where have you been? Oh, I got sober. That's what every actor says.
Right, right.
So I thought that was a cliche. And I thought, you know what? This did happen to me. And it did take me down a rabbit hole. For about 3 years, I went down the rabbit hole because of it. You get involved with these people, and they're strange people. And I did. There is AAA. It's a very underground thing in a little town called Pine Bush, New York, where all the abductions took place. Wow. If you Google Pine Bush, New York, you will see it's a hotbed. Not anymore. 10, 15 years ago it was.
Okay.
Major hotbed. You can Google Pine Bush, 2 separate words. You'll see for yourselves. Lots of people got abducted.
All right. We'll have to have you back so we can hear this whole story.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
But so this show is about it's an actor who
right, who basically he's kind of a has-been actor coming back trying to and his dog unexpectedly gets sick with a heart condition and dying, and so he's got to get this money together to get a heart transplant, which Allison Eastwood, she's the veterinarian that's get me the heart transplant,
right?
And so he does all these crazy things. He's got an ex-girlfriend based on a real ex-girlfriend. Everything's based on the girl that plays my niece,
she's funny.
Lindsay Pelis. Yeah. She's a big Instagram star.
Okay.
So she plays my niece. I'm her uncle, but in reality, it was my cousin who kicked me out of the house.
Oh my gosh! It's really based on real stuff.
It is, unfortunately.
Wow.
And that's what I say, based on a true story, ... unfortunately.
Oh, that's so
That's a great tagline.
and let's be honest, you are taking, the reins and making your own stuff.
Yeah.
But I really want to reiterate, because I don't know if you said it strongly enough, a portion, if you buy all 10 episodes for $19.99, a portion of that goes to animal rescue, which is very important to you.
Correct. That's correct.
And that's really important to know.
That's right.
All right, we're going to have you back, Billy, because there's so much more to talk about. But right now we're going to wrap up, and I want to thank our guest, William McNamara. Our team includes producer Dina Friedman, John Maddox, Mason Brown, Raf Rusak, Jordan Reyes, Haley Freight, and you. Our theme music is by me and John Maddox. I am Louise Planker, here with Lisa Arch and Billy McNamara. Be well and wise, take good care of each other, and we will see you along the media path. That was amazing.
Holy cow, you got
Wow.
stories. Man.
There's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, let's take some pictures.
Okay.